Hello! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Today is Christmas! And we're going to talk about the top 25 Christmas signs! Yay! It's the Dr. Jim Show! Okay, we're going to start with Christmas. There it is. You'll also see Merry Christmas. You know this one? I have another video that features the reindeer, but you don't have to move your face like that. The sign for gift is also a verb, to give. Actually, the base sign is the verb. Often in ASL, we use a verb similarly to a noun because of a concept called the stative predicate. It's a bit complex, and I'll talk about this at another time. I'll have a whole session focused just on this. But for now, the point is that, for example, if I gave you these sentences, thank you for the gift. It looks weird in ASL. Thank you for that gift. It also looks a little weird. Really, what I see looks more like this in ASL. Wow, you gave me something. Thank you. So what's the difference? Well, the giving is what we're talking about, the act of giving. Something that was given to me. So thank you for giving me something. But it includes the thing itself. So in ASL, this language has more rich information within each word, while in English, you have to keep attaching things and adding things to modify things before it makes sense. But in ASL, you can include the modification in the word itself. So it looks like there are fewer words, but in reality, there's more manipulation within the meaning of each word. So it's just as rich. Our language can develop these hyper words, but many people don't understand what this means when they're learning ASL. So I've heard people talk about noun-verb pairs. They talk about things like boat, the noun, and then to go by boat as the verb, or airplane as a noun and to fly as the verb. You can see that some signs have this kind of pairing relationship, but does gift and present have the same thing, for example? For give, and then someone gives me something, like they're going to give me a key. Wow, these are nice keys. They gave me a car. Wow. So that's the verb give, specifically give me. So how does that work then? Do you do it twice for gift? No. It doesn't really work. I appreciate your gift. If you do it that way, it really looks more like I appreciate you giving a lot of gifts. You give gifts to a lot of people, or it means that that person is giving and giving and giving, which is the verb give. So how do we use it as a noun? Well, as I said, because of this thing I mentioned, so it's a bit complex. So how do I say thank you for this? Well, yes, exactly that. Oh, thank you for giving me that ticket. Thank you. Or thank you for giving me a ticket to the football game, or for that performance, or whatever. It seems I'm focused on tickets lately. I don't know. Maybe that's what I want for Christmas. Anyway, the point is that this concept of the stative predicate has a strong influence on ASL. and what the difference is between ASL and English. So you're going to learn more about this later, and you'll understand more about ASL. Why we don't talk about this early on is because it's pretty complex. It took me a long time to learn about it and what it means. I'm sure you can learn it a lot faster than me. You're smarter than me. I'm positive of that. Anyway, we press on. The next sign is ski and ice skate. I'm going to relate them together. They're related to ice or snow and so on. But you see that this hand shape is talking about cutting through the ice. Ice skates. Also, you see the same thing on certain kinds of sleds. So sometimes you see this sign for sledding. This sign for sledding. Often you'll see a sign like this for sled. But this is another interesting process within ASL. This is called an indicating verb. Indicating meaning that I don't tell you what it means, I show you what it means. And if I show you, that's an indication or an indicating verb. So when I do this, I'm really showing you how that sled goes down the hill. And if I'm showing you, I'm not saying, hey, that sled is going down the hill. I'm not using words to express that. I'm actually showing you that. And ASL is language that uses that quite a bit. In English, we have a thing like this called constructed action, and ASL and English both have constructed action, but ASL is prone to use indication where English is not. So it's a bit confusing. If you want to look smart in ASL, for example, you should use a lot of indication. If you want to look smart in English, you should not use indication or indicating verbs. So interpreters have a hard job going back and forth between languages that prefer different things. But people who use language have different values, and the different values promote the choices they make. So deaf people who use ASL promote visual things and seeing things, while most hearing languages, while they also have a small value for the visual, that value is not related to language mostly. It's, they want their sentence structure, they want the place where they put words. That is the most important thing. They have to have everything in its order and so on and so forth for most spoken languages. And ASL is not the same. So really we need to praise interpreters who can figure out this difference, to not indicate in one language and then to change what the words are into indication in for ASL from English. Sometimes it's very difficult to do that. Sometimes it's not. So for example, if you have this sentence, the sled went down the hill in English, that's 6 words with a period, and then you just do this in ASL. And man, I certainly showed English, didn't I? So that's a pun in ASL. Crom, you'll enjoy that, I'm sure. But anyway, hey, hit the like button down there. And I'll tell you why. Because you help to spread Christmas cheer. When you hit this like button, more people get to see this video when you push like. And if you subscribe, that helps too. More people see this stuff, the more people who subscribe. So thank you. Back to Christmas words. Here's tree. Now, just to let you know, this isn't a real tree or anything. It doesn't even look like a tree. It's just the sign for a tree. Really, this is probably a better sign for a Christmas tree, and some people sign that in different languages for Christmas. Here's a way that we express garland in ASL. It's interesting. For me, when I grew up, we signed ornament, and really that's the word decorate in ASL. But she would use it as a noun. She would say things like, I lost my favorite ornament, and use this sign. But you might see that, but to be honest with you, this particular group of words, or this word in particular, I haven't talked about it with my colleagues at work because I don't know. It's just Christmas isn't a thing that we talk about in depth at work. It's something that you talk to with your closest friends and family. So you might even see things that are like home signs or family signs. This is the kind of area where you'll see this the most, and so you get to see some of mine maybe. So anyway, you decorate the tree, and we would have my ornaments, my mom's ornaments, and so on. But it seems that particular sign has more mouth movement than just the word decorate. Anyway, moving on. So you see this idea of hanging at the top of a tree. This is what we put there, the angel. Next we have wreath. And bell. You can see that we're depicting movement of a bell when we do signs like this. It could be a really big bell. You could show someone pulling on the bell. You could show that bell making that dong sound. But in ASL, we describe what we see. So whatever it is going to be a depiction of what's visual. So the general sign bell looks like this, but you can describe it in a variety of ways. It could be a really big bell like this. Here's cookie and candy. I made a snowman. It's a compound word. And I explained SLED already. And remember, it's also a verb. You could say I got a new sled. It doesn't mean that you got a new go downhill. It means the thing itself. I have a lot of boxes that need wrapping. And both hands move. It's not just one hand. If you only move one hand, it's like you have a broken arm or something. And even then, the other hand moves a little bit. But anyway, if you move both hands, it's clear that you mean wrapping a package and not a physical part of your body. Here's a sign for bow. It's like the sign bow tie. It's not a bow tie on the thing, but, a bow is a bow. The elf, dealing with the ears. Santa Claus needs elves. And there's my sign for Santa. There are a few signs for Santa Claus that I've seen. Ho, 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 ho! I felt I needed to talk about Jesus if we're talking about Christmas, so here's the sign for Jesus. It's interesting, for this sign you'll see that shepherd, the person who watches sheep, often you'll see it signed the same as the sign for sheep. We don't say sheep watcher or anything, but it can be the animal itself, that you trim the wool off, or the person who watches the sheep. So you might see this in the mouth, or the context is going to tell you. So it requires your mouth and your hat moving. No, of course not. So if you're talking about hanging stockings, here's the sign for stocking, which is also the sign for socks. And here's a sign for hang, as in to put on a hook. So you use the same sign for hanging an ornament. And it can look like this as well if you're depicting yourself in another way. So here's like the sign for fireplace. So I can set up my lines here. And imagine you are the fireplace, and then the hooks are hanging on you, the fireplace mantle. So if you're the mantle, this is what it looks like from the perspective of the mantle. And if you're the tree with your branches, here's what it looks like from the perspective of the tree, right? So if I'm talking about my perspective when I hang things, that's what it looks like. Lights on the Christmas tree and the blinking lights. Coal, black coal. If you're not a good boy, you get coal. And those are the Christmas signs! Yay! Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Christmas, Merry Christmas. Now I'm gonna go get my gifts from Santa. Bye! Do you want Santa to bring you all the words? Do you want to learn so much and improve so much that your head can't hold them all? Hit that button and subscribe. All right. Oh, you're still here? Go get your gifts from Santa. You don't believe in Santa? Oh, today you're really missing out on the gifts. You better run and get some beliefs from the belief store. You know where it is? Oh, come to think of it, I don't know where it is, but you need to get some belief. I can give you some of mine if you want. Here you go. It's free. I'll give you my belief. I believe in you. Here it is. Love you.